Excellent choice. For a data analyst interview at top companies, often called FANG or similar, SQL is usually the single most important technical skill. Many candidates know SQL syntax. Far fewer understand how to think with SQL. That's what interviewers test. SQL Mastery Roadmap, Data Analytics. We'll build this like a university course plus real industry training. Module 1, SQL Foundation Principles. Today, Module 2, Select Where Order By. Module 3, Filtering Like an Analyst. Module 4, Aggregate Functions. Module 5, Group By and Having. Module 6, Joins the Heart of SQL. Module 7, Case When. Module 8, Subqueries. Module 9, CTEs. Module 10, Window Functions. Module 11, Advanced Window Functions. Module 12, Date and Time SQL. Module 13, String Functions. Module 14, Null Handling. Module 15, Data Cleaning. Module 16, Interview SQL Patterns. Module 17, SQL Optimization Module. 18, 200 FANG Interview Questions. Module 19, Complete Business Case Studies. Module 20, Mock Interviews. Chapter 1, SQL from First Principles. Imagine a giant Excel sheet. Suppose Amazon has a table. Customer ID, name, city, orders. 101 Alice, Delhi 15 Bob, Mumbai 7, and is Chris, Delhi 22. This sheet is called a table. Think of it like Excel sheet equals table, column equals field, row equals record. Every company stores millions or billions of these records. SQL is simply the language used to ask questions about them. Imagine SQL as Google search for databases. Instead of typing open quote, customers from Delhi, close quote, you write, you can see the code in our conversation history. Why companies love SQL. Imagine you're working at Netflix. Your manager asks, how many users watched Stranger Things yesterday? Which country watches the most? Which subscription makes the most money? Which customers are likely to cancel? You won't open Excel. You'll ask the database using SQL. First principle. A database is nothing more than organized information. Think of a library. Books are stored in racks. Database stores data in tables. SQL helps you ask the librarian. Instead of open quote, give me Harry Potter, close quote. SQL says, you can see the code in our conversation history. Wash database vocabulary, real life database, library, shelf table, book row, book title column, Remember this forever. What is SQL? SQL structured query language. Think SQL equals ask questions, get answers. Every SQL query has one purpose, get exactly the data you need. SQL is like asking questions. Question, show all employees. You can see the code in our conversation history. Question, show only salary. You can see the code in our conversation history. Question, conversation history. Question, show names and salary. You can see the code in our conversation history. The golden rule, every SQL query reads like English. Read it from bottom to top. Example, you can see the code in our conversation history means from employees. Select name. SQL is intentionally designed to resemble plain English. Watch the 80-20 rule. The following concepts account for most day-to-day SQL work in data analytics. Select, from, where, group by, order by, join, case, window functions. Master these and you'll solve the majority of interview and job tasks. Anatomy of a SQL query. You can see the code in our conversation history. Mnemonic. Smart friends wear green hats, often laugh, select from where, group by, having, order by, limit. Select. Select means I want this. Example. You can see the code in our conversation history, meaning give me names. Multiple columns. You can see the code in our conversation history, meaning give me name, salary department. Everything you can see the code in our conversation history. The star means everything. Memory trick equals give me everything. Wash from answers one question. Where is the data? You can see the code in our conversation history. Name comes from employees. Building mental model. Imagine a restaurant. Select equals food you want, from equals kitchen. Where equals special instructions. Order by equals arrange nicely. Limit equals only first few plates. Sample database, employees ID, name, department, salary, 1 Ali, 8,000, 2 Sarah IT, 7,000. What's hidden? Did you mind? Example 1, you can see the code in our conversation history, output Ali, Sarah, John, Fatima. Example 2, you can see the code in our conversation history. 4,700 zoom 500 zoom 9,000. Example 3, You can see the code in our conversation history. Ali 40,000, Sarah 7,000, John 5,000, Fatima 9,000. Example 4. You can see the code in our conversation history. Returns the complete table, how SQL executes. Many beginners think SQL runs top to bottom. Actually, conceptually, it processes data in stages. 1 from, where, group by, having 5, select 6, order by 7, limit. This execution order becomes very important in advanced queries. Beginner versus expert. Beginner memorizes syntax, writes queries by trial and error. Intermediate understands tables and relationships, uses filtering and aggregation confidently. Advanced writes efficient joins, CTEs, and window functions. Thinks about query performance. Expert thinks in terms of data models and business questions. Chooses the simplest, fastest query that answers the problem. Real interview thinking. Suppose an interviewer asks, open quote, find customers who spent more than 10,000. Close quote, don't jump to typing. Think 1, which table has customers? 2, which column has spending? 3, do I need filtering? 4, do I need grouping? 5, what should the output look like? This planning step separates strong candidates from average ones. Common beginner mistakes. Forgetting the from clause. Misspelling column names. Using select when only a few columns are needed. Ignoring null values. Writing queries without understanding the business question. Mini exercises. Assume the employees table above. 1, show only the name column. 2, show department and salary. 3, show all columns. 4, which clause tells SQL where the data comes from? Why is select tra not always a good idea? Try answering these yourself before checking a solution. Interview questions. 1, what is SQL? 2, difference between a database and a table. 3, difference between a row and a column. 4, what does select do? 5, what is the purpose of the from clause? 6, what is the conceptual order in which SQL executes a query? One-page revision sheet, core concepts, database, collection of tables. Table is rows, columns. Row equals 1 record. Column is 1 attribute. SQL equals language to query databases. Essential clauses, select, choose columns. From, choose table. Where, filter rows. Group by, create groups. Having, filter groups. Order by, sort results. Limit, restrict number of rows. Execution order 1, from, 2, where 3, group by, 4, having 5, select 6, order by 7. Limit mnemonic smart friends wear green hats, often laugh. Action plan. 1, memorize the SQL execution order. 2, create a simple employees table in any SQL practice environment such as MySQL, PostgreSQL, or SQLite. 3, practice writing select queries with different column combinations. 4, read every query aloud in plain English until the translation feels natural. When you're ready, reply next, and we'll move to Chapter 2. Select, where, order by, and limit, where you'll start solving real interview-style questions and writing practical queries used by data analysts every day. Chapter 2. Select, where, order by, and limit. Learn SQL like a detective. This chapter teaches the 4 SQL clauses you'll use in almost every query. If Chapter 1 taught you the alphabet, this chapter teaches you to form sentences. First principles. Imagine you are a detective investigating millions of customer records. You never ask, open quote, show me everything, close quote. Instead, you ask specific questions. Examples. Show me customers from Bangalore. Show me orders above 5,000. Show me the top 10 highest paid employees. SQL is simply a precise way to ask these questions. The sample table. We'll use this employees table throughout. Employee ID, name, department, salary, city, age. 101 Ali, HR, 4,000 Hyderabad 25. Sarah, IT 1,000 Bangalore 31. John Silf 5,000 Delhi 28. Fatima, IT Wealth Hyderabad 35. One of David Finance 65,000 Mumbai 29,196. Delhi 26. Number 1. Select, what do you want? Think of a restaurant. The menu has 100 dishes. You only order what you want. Select tells SQL what to return. You can see the code in our conversation history. Result. Name. Ali. Fatima. Multiple columns. You can see the code in our conversation history. Result. Name. Salary. 10,000. John, 55,000. Fatima, 65,000. Aisha, ASIN. Everything. You can see the code in our conversation history. Memory trick. SQL everything. Number 2. Where? Filter the data. Imagine Amazon has 500 million customers. You don't want everyone. You only want customers from Hyderabad. You can see the code in our conversation history. Result, name city, Ali, Fatima, Hyderabad. Think of where as a sieve that lets only matching rows pass through. Comparison operators, operator, meaning equal to greater than, less than, equals, greater than or equal, less than or equal, or equals, not equal. Examples, you can see the code in our conversation history, employees earning more than 70,000. You can see the code in our conversation history, today employees younger than 30. You can see the code in our conversation history, only IT employees, multiple conditions, and both conditions must be true. You can see the code in our conversation history, result, Sarah and Fatima. Memory trick, and equals, both friends must come to the party. Nashchak or at least one condition must be true. You can see the code in our conversation history, returns employees from either city. Memory trick, or equals, either friend can come. Not reverse the condition. You can see the code in our conversation history, everyone except HR. SQL execution mental model. Imagine water flowing through pipes. You can see the code in our conversation history. This visualization helps explain why filtering happens before selecting. Number 3, order by. Sort the results. Suppose your manager asks, open quote, show the highest paid employees first, close quote. You can see the code in our conversation history. DSC equals descending, highest to lowest. Lowest salary first. You can see the code